Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ghost Biker Garage. I am your host, the Ghost Biker, and it's been a minute since we've been on here. We did not have a show last week, and I've received a lot of different comments and responses on that. We are doing okay and everything. We did cancel the show because I was supposed to be doing the Michigan Paracon last week in Ann Arbor. And unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, I did have to cancel that event or cancel my appearance there. And so I did not, I try to book my schedule really far out with the my guests who come on the show. So we went ahead, took that day and got some work done up at the historic Scott County Jail. And also, like I said, I didn't really want to put anyone on last minute. So just want to say hello to some of the folks who are here. Hello, Michelle, Chris, Peppy, Janet, Tony, Sarah Jane. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We have a great guest who's going to be talking about a lot of great topics. I mean, I know I say that every week, but I've been really blessed with the folks that we've been able to get on to share their stories and share what they're doing. So, a few little announcements coming up, as a lot of you guys know, with the historic Scott County Jail. We're working on that. We hope to have the website live for folks to be able to book their paranormal investigations and such, and information on the museum. We hope to have that site officially live tomorrow. If it's not live tomorrow, it will be live by Saturday. So we'll have more information about that coming up. Everything is going great with it. The museum is coming together nicely. I would like to thank everyone personally that has reached out to me and said that they've had items that they're willing to donate or put on loan. I'm truly honored, myself and Dr. Sumner. We are honored and excited by the excitement, and we think we're going to have some great exhibits in here, and we can't wait to share this with everyone. So as Dr. Sumner says here, we're excited to open the jail soon. So we actually have a date for that grand opening that we'll be announcing. I don't want to jump the gun and say anything about that just yet, but we will be saying that here very, very soon. So, and got a couple other guest appearances and stuff coming up that I'll talk about after we have our guest on tonight. And again, I just want to reiterate what Dr. Sumner said. Thanks everyone who has donated to the jail's museum. We are still looking for items. We're looking for items from Scott County specifically, but we are looking for items that are true crime and punishment related, corrections, law enforcement, in Scott County, the state of Tennessee, but then also nationwide. So, so anything that you have would be definitely great. So, I want to go ahead and get to tonight's guest because again, we've got a lot to talk about. His name is Ronnie Headley, and he's the founder, lead investigator, and CEO of Tennessee Paranormal Ghost Tours. Ronnie's investigated many well-known paranormal locations and has appeared on various podcasts as well as television programs. Kindred Spirits on the Travel Channel is one in particular. And he's worked with many state and federal agencies, such as the Alabama Historical Commission, in locating graves and archaeological sites. And he continues to host public and historical investigations, Ghostwalk Tours at the Henry Horton State Park, as well as overnight investigations using some of the most advanced technology available. So I'm going to go ahead, bring Ronnie on, and get the conversation started. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to put those over in the comment section on the side, and we'll pull those up. I'm going to pull comments up, but if you have a question, we'll wait until we get to a break in the conversation just so we don't lose our momentum. So if you all will help me welcome Mr. Ronnie Headley. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Just really glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. I know we got to meet for the first time, I guess, last month at the Scream Chamber in Athens, Tennessee, at that festival.
Absolutely, and it was a blast. I really liked working with you guys and all the setting up side by side there and everything that they had going on there. And We will be actually at Creepycon in Knoxville on August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So I'd like to invite everybody to come out and join us there too.
Awesome. And we definitely, when we get on into the show, if you want to plug that as well as any other locations, that would be great. And we'll make sure to put those in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
So, so you're out of the Lynchburg area, correct?
Yes, I live in Chapel Hill, but we have an office here in Lynchburg, right across from the Harley Davidson shop here in Lynchburg.
Great location. We love those Harley shops. So if you would kind of tell me how you got started on your paranormal journey and doing what you do.
At an early age, had seen some apparitions and everything, and it just always was in the back of my mind. I worked at a funeral home in the Birmingham area and saw an apparition in the funeral home when I was working there. And so over a period of time, just more and more, just trying to figure out what it was behind that veil, and just got very interested in it. Back then when I started, it was hard to find anything. There was no programs on TV and everything like that. You just run into somebody every once in a while that was seeking those same answers, and we kind of compare notes. And so it just intrigued and started more and more from there.
Very cool. Is that so? How did you've got several different locations there. So how did you get started doing what you're doing there in Lynchburg?
I had a lady that lives in Lynchburg. I'd run across her, and she saw my paranormal stuff on the back of my vehicle and said that she had a friend here in Lynchburg that had an activity going on at the business that he was working at, and wanted to know if I would like to come meet him. And I said, sure. So I came in and sat down and talked to him, and I got to looking around the little town. I said, with the history of this town as old as it is, there's got to be more. So I actually went from location to location with her at the businesses and shops, and we actually found 16 businesses that had activity in the town here.
Wow. And that's fascinating that, were they open to talking about it and letting you come in, or was it kind of a...
When we first came into town, this is kind of, it's like when I went from door to door with her and everything, they would tell me, yes, we have things happening here, but we don't tell anybody because they'll think we're crazy. And they'd sit down and tell me what was going on. About the fourth stop, I said, look, if you're crazy, everybody in this town's crazy because we've got all this stuff going on all around, right? So it's just been really, really neat with them opening up their businesses to our team to come in and investigate. I spent about 6 months here before I ever opened the doors to do an investigation or a ghost walk in this town, going through archives and historical society and talking with people from the town to get the true facts and everything and put all of this together.
And that's what I really like about what you do in your approach, is that you spend the time to get the history and to get the facts, and we're just lucky we're in such an area that's got such a great history.
Oh, absolutely. And, Lynchburg is home of Jack Daniels. So there's 350,000 people a year come through here to see Jack Daniels. And a lot of this history was being lost. So we sat down and put all of this history together, and it's still related to Jack. There's a lot of his family members that we talk about and everything. And, we get a lot of that history that's being lost and preserve it by doing this. And I put a little spin on, if you've ever been on a ghost walk, it's usually somebody dressed up telling you stories. So we just kind of wanted to take a different approach, and we recorded the history. So when we're going from location to location, you're hearing the actual history. But when we get in front of the business that has actually got the activity, we have the business owner or employee recorded telling you what's happening inside that business.
Now that's interesting. I've never heard of that approach.
And then we turn around and tell everybody what we have found when we investigated. And then we stop and pause and take questions and everything through it. So it's just really a different approach to the historical ghost walk type events.
Do you find that the people, it sounds like you've got something for everyone there when it comes to the history. If you if you're not as much into the paranormal, there's the history there, and vice versa. Have you found that one is? People prefer one over the other.
Oh no, they're just like totally amazed at so much history here that we've gone in and preserved. Um, I get a lot of people that talk to me all the time about. In fact, I did a tour at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and the folks were just like all over the history part of it. And it's just, trying to bridge both why it's happening and who it possibly is and things like that. And some of them we've actually solved who it is inside the businesses.
Oh, that's really cool. And I'm seeing a lot of different great comments here. Tony says she loves listening to Ronnie's stories and listening to him tell about the history from Lynchburg. And Dr. Sumner says it's great that the town has really embraced the paranormal as a whole. And that is really great to see because, they do tend to go hand in hand. And it's just great to see it, especially in a town that has so much activity.
Oh, absolutely. I came in and once we got all the investigations out of the way and everything, decided to do this, then I went in and got a business license to actually operate here in town. So we pay taxes to the town, generating revenue. A lot of our tours at 6 p.m. Most of the things close up at 5. So some of them are staying open a little later. We're bringing people that are coming in for a second time because they already had things that they were doing around Nashville, didn't know we were here. So we're getting repeats, people coming back in just to do the tours too, and touring Lynchburg. So it's a good thing for all of us.
That's very cool. And so as far as your Ghostwalk tour, how many buildings does it consist of, and about how long is your tour?
It's about a 2.5-hour tour, give or take a little bit, depending on how many questions we get. And we have 16 businesses that we stop in front of and talk about. So, and some of them are side by side, so it's not really, that bad of walking and everything. There's some locations, some areas that, depending on how many people we have, there's places they can sit and things like that and listen to. So but it's not continuous walking. It's stopping in front of these businesses.
Exactly. And Michelle makes a good point. A lot of the small towns pull the sidewalks in about 5 to 6 p.m. So it's really cool to see that, see you all are doing that. And you bring up a really good point about it, getting the trade, not trademark, but getting the business license and bringing in the tourism. That really does bring in a lot for these small towns just because there is such an interest.
And, you're talking about the small town aspect. When I went in to get the business license, I went over and they said you had to have a brick and mortar building, which I didn't. I had somebody that had a business here that was going to let me set up out in front of their, one of their places that they leased. And so they said, well, you got to have that. And I said, okay, let me get a peddler's license. They said, you're not peddling anything. I said, I'm peddling tickets. So they said, you got me on technicality, but peddlers have to be off the sidewalk by 5 p.m. So I said, okay. So they sent me down to talk to the mayor, and she told me to go down to the council the next week and everything, put a business proposal together and everything else. So I did that and wound up getting a business license in town. So you talking about small town, I had to take the steps. It wasn't just directly charging in and doing all this, but it worked out great. The people here have been very receptive. It's kind of a hush-hush community on some of it, but more being around town, more people coming in, opening up, telling me their stories. It's not just in town, it's around at our houses in the area and things like that. So it's been really great. And then we just give little snippets of what's happening. And I encourage these people, now you know where these businesses are, go back and talk to these people. They're going to tell you more stuff that's happening. Because if I put it all in there, we'd be on an 8-hour tour sitting here trying to tell everything that's happening, right? So,
right.
So we just kind of do that approach with it too. So it helps the businesses with them, opening the doors too, and they don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dr. Sumner says, do you use volunteers or do you have employees?
We do volunteers. When we do the jail museums, when we actually do the investigations inside the Moore County Jail Museum, it was only the third jail that's been in this county, and this town is almost 200 years old. And it was only the third jail. It was used from 1893 to 1990. And there's been lynchings and murders and suicides, and 2 mob hits on the sheriff took place there. Just all kinds of history in that jail. And so what we get from that, we write checks back to the jail museum and the historical society. The Moore County Historical Society actually does that. So we kind of write checks back to them to help them take care of the jail, and all through that. Yeah, that's a picture of it there. It's crazy. It's not just a jail. The right side there that you see is actually downstairs is the living room of the sheriff, and then there was a dining room and kitchen, and upstairs the middle window is the stairwell landing, and the 2 windows in the upstairs front are the children's bedroom and the sheriff's bedroom.
Okay. Wow.
And the left side of it, the downstairs window, is actually the sheriff's office, and then the back side upstairs is men's jail, and the back side of it is the women's jail. So
okay, so it's what, a two cell jail?
It's two women's cell, and then they've got 2 large men's jails upstairs. The jail is actually the jails that they have upstairs for the men was actually made by the Pauley Jail Company in St. Louis, Missouri. It was patented in the 1800s. It was a prefab jail that they carried around and assembled. And at one point, they actually held 22 men in that jail up there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's overcrowding.
Yeah, they would, the cells has like 4 bunks for each cell had 4 bunks. And then they throw mattresses in the floor and mattresses around the outsides of the jail for the trustee type, petty theft kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So was it a pretty rough or lawless town at one time?
It was a very lawless town at one time, and they actually sent for Andrew Jackson to come into the town and be one of the first judges here to try some cases to try to bring some law and order back in. And he ruled with a pretty iron fist there in the beginning by, just having them hung and shot and everything else to try to bring the crime down in the community.
Okay. And so is that where a lot of the activity came from because of it being such a lawless town?
You talking about all the activity around town? Mm-hmm. Personally, I think it's like a portal here, because Jack Daniel's has the cave with all the underground springs and stuff for making the whiskey and everything, and then so you've got caves and portals and water and limestone and everything all under here. So I think it's because of the water, the limestone, and everything that it's kind of a portal here.
Yeah, perfect combination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just going back and forth here a little bit to the comments. Tony says, I plan on going back to Lynchburg. The jail was very active. Out of your different locations that you have, what is your most active location?
The jail is by far off the chain. We have had some really neat experiences in there. My team and everything, I had a lady on the team, and she had done some private investigations with us and everything, coming to see if we kind of fit together and everything. So this was her first time to come in to be a team member. And I had a geoport sitting on the top of the steps of the jail. Well, I'd already heard that there was a guy there, and I've given him the nickname as Mr. Nasty because he just talks trash to the ladies, right?
Yeah.
So we were investigating this to kind of come in and see, what was happening in the jail for ourselves before we opened up. And as soon as Dana walked up the top, it says, across the geoport, says, "Lady, I'm going to rape you."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Don't talk to the lady like that." And it proceeded to cuss me. And she's like, "We got to go downstairs." So we went downstairs. And so a few minutes later, came back upstairs, and it said something else that wasn't very ladylike to her, And so she's like, "Holy crap! I've never had anything like that happen to me before." So we've had people come in. We had a mother and daughter that came in, sat in one of the jails with the SB cells with an SB7, and it screamed at them, "What are you hussies looking at?" And things like that across it. So it's a pretty active little place. We hear. On the other side, we hear like footsteps, we hear voices, we hear children laughing sometimes on the stairwell, like they're running back and forth playing on the stairwell, and things like that. So it's very, very active.
And I'm sure have you been able to identify some of these people positively, I guess, based on your research?
We think we have. With the one talking about the rape and everything, one of the deputies here, I talked to him when we were doing the initial investigation that night. And he told me his granddaddy worked there, and they had caught a rapist at one time and held him in there. So I'm thinking, well, that kind of fits in, But they've had some lynchings there. We know the last lynching was in 1903, and we know who that was and everything. But a lot of the businesses around here, we have solved who they are.
That's very cool. Can you talk any about that process of how you with your team have gone about doing that?
Descriptions of some of the apparitions that were seen, and knowing who owned the business prior to, and having previously seen a picture in one of the ladies' shops that it was her grandfather and everything, and we had the description of big, tall gentleman and all this. And her grandfather was a big, tall gentleman that owned the store previously.
Okay.
So we had, and that's actually the Harley shop.
Oh, very cool. So the Harley shop is haunted too.
The haunted Harley shop. Can't beat that.
We've got to come to a Ghost Biker event there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I partnered with the local craft distillery and winery here. We do spirits and spirits tours. It's something that we've kind of trademark registered and trying to get started, is where we send them over for a tasting and then meet up with them for a ghost walk. But this being Lynchburg and everything, and known for Jack Daniels, they got a nice little craft distillery here. That's our Spirits and Spirits. She's holding a bottle of the alcohol from the American Craft Distilleries and a bottle of wine from the Lynchburg Winery. So that's the two places you have a choice of going with us. But I talked to Ray Tucker and John Manis that owns both of those, and they thought it was a great idea to partner with us and start this. So that's what we did. We went in and partnered with them. But it's the same thing if you went and booked a tasting with them and a tour with us. The only difference is you pick up a voucher from us and you get a free wine glass or shot glass over there. So
very nice. I love the partnership.
So so it's worked out great. Ray and his family also own the Lynchburg Cafe, and that is one of our haunted locations. And we talk about that on the tour, and what Ray saw in there, the apparition. He actually saw an apparition in there. But underneath it was, in the 30s, was the Lynchburg Moore County morgue. So there was a morgue underneath it. And when they were remodeling for the cafe, they tore out the walls inside there. Yeah, that's the distillery there. Great place. Okay. But when they tore out the walls underneath, they found these things that looked like vaults standing up underneath the sidewalk. There were two of them. And the caskets back then would have been the old toe pinchers where they were wide and narrow. So that's where they would dress the folks and lean them up inside there and take pictures and things.
Okay.
And we actually captured an apparition inside there too. But,
that's very cool. Let's see, I'm looking to pull up, let's see, you've got the courthouse.
That's the courthouse. It was built in, I think it was 1865, maybe. I've got so many dates over here, they all stick in my head. But that was built in 1865, and it's still an active courthouse. Beautiful square. Weekends, weekdays right now that we're booming with bikers. It being the summer, everybody's out and everything. But this is a local hangout for all the bikers around there too. So you guys ride out and enjoy the day here and see me for a tour at night.
We will definitely do that. We'll have to get a haunted ghost biker ride going and come over, do a Harley event and come over and see, because I love hitting places like this that are small town, but have a lot of different locations. So this would actually be perfect.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you come into town and ride in with some of the guys and do a walking tour or something, or just come out and hang out across from the Harley over here. I mean, you know, we've got a place right there across from it. You're welcome anytime to come down.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. We got a question here from Dr. Sumner. She says, do you think any of the artifacts in your museum contribute to the activity, or is it mainly the building itself?
That's a good question. Not only does it have things from the jail, but it being the Historical Society and them doing preservation, we've got things from all over the county here. So there's a loom for weaving rugs up there. They've got a 1930s bridal dress, all the way up to military uniforms, all kinds of stuff. So it's really, really an interesting place.
And so how many of these locations that we've talked about are open for paranormal investigations?
The only thing that we have is our jail is open for investigations. We possibly can squeeze some, into the morgue. I have permission to go into there some, and so the old morgue. The haunted funeral home across the street is run by another person, but we can put you in touch with them too. So, it's actually for sale. You too can own a haunted bed and breakfast.
Is that what it's set up as now, as a bed and breakfast?
No, it's just an old funeral home, and they had a haunted house in there at one time, so it's petitioned off and everything, where they had like actors haunted house. So it's actually petitioned off, but they only host teams in. We do host public investigations where we'll set our equipment up for, if they don't have any experience, we'll set it up and we'll help with our team asking questions and directing them. And then we send all of the audio to them in a Dropbox link so they can go through it just like we do.
Oh, that's great. I love that idea. And we have a dead and breakfast.
There you go. Put a radio station in the bay for the vehicles and call it Playing Dead, right?
That's right. That's right. And we actually have Donald Martin on here talking about the old funeral home. He actually runs the Old Southern Funeral Home in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, which, that was the first funeral home that I had ever investigated. And very, very active. I was actually really enjoyed. I've gone there twice, and I enjoyed that. And so I'm actually really fascinated at the fact that you worked in the funeral home, and that was where you had seen apparitions and such.
Yeah, I worked in a funeral home that was the owner's great-grandfather started it in the 1800s. And what was really amazing is the end of the hallway was this big, beautiful mirror, and antique framed and everything. And it was actually one of the glass panels out of the last horse-drawn hearse that they had.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was just an amazing place. They did a 100-year celebration while was working there. And they brought out a bunch of the old artifacts, the old cooling boards and stuff, where they used to go out to the homes and embalm and everything before, they just brought them in and everything, because they used to take and embalm them and put them in their beds at home, and then put them in a casket and bury them, and then it just evolved from that. So
that's very cool. It's very cool that that somebody had the presence of mind to not only save that, but be able to repurpose it into something that they were able to use in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your team. You had kind of mentioned how, how you investigate and research to get the history and such. How many people are on your team? And do you do mostly homes? Do you do these business type locations? Let's just talk a little bit about Tennessee Paranormal.
We have 5 members on the team, or seven members on the team. My wife's is kind of in the background. Um, we have a son that we were raising, or a grandson that we adopted, and so she kind of stays home and takes care of him, and it's just kind of the background. She's my website person, all of my, back office type stuff. And then I have another lady that's on the team. Her name is Dana Perryman, and she's a local business owner in our hometown. Her and her husband. And then I have a lady. Her name is Jennifer Johnson. She is actually a juvenile probation officer for the state. So
very interesting.
So we have her. We have a young lady. Her name is Katie Armstrong, and she just joined the team this past year. She was 17 when I met her and her family. I'm very interested in everything in it. Very smart little lady. She had actually graduated high school early and started college already. So we got her on the team and everything. And then Bailey Vaughn, she's another one that's on the team with us, and Chad Smith. So that makes up our team. And we all have a diverse background. Chad actually came from Georgia, took one of my tours and wanted to come in. He just moved here to Tennessee, and he had formed a team in Georgia previously, but left it behind when he came up here. So he had a little experience and everything, and we just all get along great. We help, they come in and help with the ghost walks and things. We do charge for the ghost walks, but that helps us to fund doing private investigations. It helps us fund getting equipment. It helps us fund going to things like the Scream Fest that we were at and Creepycon and things like that. So that's what we're looking at.
And speaking of Scream Fest, we've got Steve Phillips here from the Scream Chamber online. So thank you, Steve. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your hospitality at the event. That was a great event, and I'm looking forward to next year because they did that event really well. I was
yes, they did.
Impressed. Yeah, and it's nice to have another event in the southeast region there of East Tennessee.
Absolutely. And Steve, I'd like to thank you and Chris Coppinger for inviting us and having us out there. I had a blast. I mean, it was really great, and the people out there was just so nice. And all the other teams, I enjoyed meeting and talking with them. And that's what Para-Unity is about, is us getting together like that and being able to open up and share things. And I really a true believer in Para-Unity, and I really enjoyed meeting all these teams out there.
It was a really great group of people. I know that there were people that came down from Kentucky, and I know a couple Kentucky teams. I had some motorcycle riders from Kentucky that came, and then I think we had some people from North Georgia, I believe, that had come up. So, great, diverse group of people, and it was really great to sit and chat and meet a lot of people that I had never actually met in person, but knew them from Facebook. And yeah, we even had one from Florida that came up. So yeah, it was very cool. And like I said, it was great I was two booths down from you, and Soul Sisters was there beside you. So it was great being neighbors. And
it was. And I mean, you and I and Dr. Sumner, we've been friends on Facebook for a long time. And, to actually finally get to be where we're at the same location and, meet up, and it was great. I really enjoyed talking to you ladies and covering your booth while they gave y'all the tour, and y'all covering mine while I took the tour,
Absolutely.
It was really great. It was really great.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had Tony come from Clinton, Tennessee, and enjoyed meeting everyone there. Yeah, we really, I got to talk to Tony a little bit, and it was great. We really enjoyed it, especially too when you because I know you're really busy with everything you're doing, trying to run the successful ghost tour and be able to open all of this up to tourism and to the paranormal community. So it's great to sit and talk with someone that's out there doing that and doing these things for the community.
Well, we do that, and then we. My thing too is you got so many people that's watching it on TV now and always want to do it and everything
Mm-hmm.
else, and that's the reason I opened up. I do a private investigation, a public investigation. Private's like teams like us that want to come in,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to set up any equipment. Public's where they come in as a group and everything because they've been watching it. They want to have the opportunity, and they can go in and do it, and not in a big group where big groups are nice and everything else, but when
Mm-hmm.
you get these big groups in, sometimes you don't get any, you've got too much talking and stuff to get everything's contaminated and you don't get real evidence. So we like to keep it small, 6 to 10 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then give them opportunity, help them with the equipment and show them things and teach them some techniques and let them do their thing and then send it back to them. Because you and I can sit here all day and tell all tons of experiences that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
But till you actually go out and sit and it happens to you, that's when it becomes your experience.
That's right.
So I like to let these people come in and get their own experiences.
Yes, I love that. Do you host any Paracons or events in Lynchburg?
We, I've been talking the last. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce here, and the last time they asked me, did I have any kind of event coming up, and I told them that we were going to work on a Paracon. So I had a great response to that. So that's one of the things we're going to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of October is definitely out because that is one of my busiest months. We run tons of tours through here. I mean, we're like dragging. We add extra tours. We have the things, if you've been to the like museums and stuff's got the receiver where you listen through.
Yes.
Well, I've got a transmitter and a receiver, so we kind of play the tour, and I have 30 of them, so we can take up to 30 guests. So they're all hearing the same thing. It's not like if you're on the end, you're missing everything. So we break those out during October so that everybody can, or if we get a larger group in, we'll break
Mm-hmm.
those out for them to hear. But we're looking at trying to do that. It might not happen this year, but it's probably going to happen next year.
Wonderful. So if somebody wants to take one of your ghost tours or ghost walks during October, is that something they need to book in advance, or is that something they can just come off the street and do?
We have a limited that we do off the street. I've got Square Register and we can ring them up here. But we prefer them to go into our website, TennesseeParanormal.com.
And I'm going to pull that up now.
Okay. So you go to TennesseeParanormal.com and you hit on the tours, and it'll bring up, you just click on the tour you want to take, and then you book it there. We have the walking tours, the Spirits and Spirits tour. We actually do Nathan Bedford Forrest's Boyhood Home too.
Okay.
He was a general. It was part of that's the one you see on the top right-hand corner there. It was part of a Revolutionary War grant, and the home was built in about 1835,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been redone, and it's still there. So we've had a lot of good activity out of there. Of course, the jail museum at the bottom. But you just click on that, and then you pick your date and how many adults, how many children, or what have you, and then you go in and book. And once you book, it's going to have a waiver there too, and you sign the digital waiver, so there's no paperwork or anything for you to do. Then you come to us, and then we just check you in, and we get ready for the tour.
Okay. I was trying to pull that up. I was switching through the page, and for some reason, it opened another tab, and it didn't share that, so I was trying to share.
Yeah, if you click the book tour.
Okay.
So that takes you up to that's where you book there. You choose your tour, how many guests, whatever you're booking. It shows the guest and all that, and you pick your date, and then that secures your date. If you
Okay.
are a paranormal team, book the private tour, and that lets me know you're coming in with your equipment, and I don't have to set everything up. And then if you are public and want to come in, get your group of 6, because we have a minimum of 6, and then you book the jail, and we'll set everything up for you. If you say you can't get 6 people, I've had people that it's just been 2 people come in and book the jail and pay for the 6 and come in just do it with them. So
Okay. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to your page here. For some reason, I'm having to do this manually every time there. Okay, yeah. So that's the best way to do it, and
sure.
To do that, if they can do that in advance, would be good.
Absolutely. Of course, the Spirits and Spirits tours is, as adults and everything, but you can book children on there too. They just don't get the alcohol and all that. It's just regular tickets for the kids. And so.
Okay. And let's see here. So, I'm just double checking to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, October is pretty much a busy month for all of us here. I know.
Absolutely.
I know we're about to be busy with the opening of our jail, and I'm fully anticipating October to be pretty busy here, because we're also looking to do something very similar with walking tours, and they're going to be history and paranormal, as well as being open for the paranormal investigations of the jail itself.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we got 350,000 people a year come through for Jack Daniels. But one of the things that was lost with that was there were originally 23 distilleries here.
Oh, really?
Yes. I dug that history up.
So were they Jack Daniels related, or
some of them were? Some of them were related to Jack, and some of them were competitors. And so, I mean, you got Jim Beam.
Is Jim Dickel there as well?
Yeah.
Or is that a couple exits on up?
I think it's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you've got tons and tons and tons of history here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure Civil War history as well in that area.
Oh yeah. There were no major battles here, but there was a few. There were some camps and things like that. But like one of the talk about Nathan Bedford Forrest. He was in Chapel Hill. I live in Chapel Hill, so that's where he was born and raised till he was 13, and then they moved to Mississippi. But he still had relatives that lived in the area, and so he came back through when the Chapel Hill, when they were fighting at Murfreesboro and Franklin and Spring Hill and all those areas. So he came back through the hometown, but he had a group that was called his escorts or bodyguards. And today they would have been the same thing as what we had as a strike force.
Okay.
But they were a 100-man team. And so most of them came from this area. And one of the first ones that died in his escorts that died in battle was a relative of Jack Daniels. So, so there's a lot of history in this area, even tied to the Civil War, World War I, World War II. They stopped making alcohol and made alcohol, like for the soldiers and stuff, for the rubbing alcohol type stuff and everything was manufactured here for that. So a lot of history.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of Native American history as well.
Oh, absolutely. Davy Crockett was here at one time. A lot of people don't know it. You know who Little Richard is, right?
I do.
Little Richard actually lived here and the last part of his life and died here.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was at a concert, because I went to school in Murfreesboro, and so I was just 30 minutes down from there in Nashville, and so we went to a concert. I think we went and saw, I think it was Pink, and she was in Nashville, and so the hotel that my sister and my sister-in-law was at, they were coming out of the hotel, and little Richard was walking in. And so I remember she called me because I had gone on back home that evening after the concert, and she was like, "You're not going to believe who we ran into coming into the hotel. We saw little Richard, and he was just so friendly." And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, "Really?" So I didn't know he lived there.
Yeah, he actually passed away. He had a home here, and he was kind of found unresponsive. I think if I remember right, he was found unresponsive, taken to Tullahoma, which is not too far away, and he passed away at the hospital there in Tullahoma.
Wow.
But
Yeah, and it wasn't very
but
long ago.
but you're talking about that in Nashville and everything. My wife and I went to a Charlie Daniels big event over in Nashville one time, and we were walking through, and there was this group of people standing out in front of Bridgestone, and one of them was taking a picture, and all of them was there. And I made the big flying leap and photo bombed them, and they started laughing, thought it was the funniest thing. Later that night, they were one of the bands on stage. I'm like, uh-oh.
That's the thing about Nashville and Franklin and that whole area. You never know who you're going to run into because
Oh, you don't.
there's so many celebrities that live in that area, not just country music, but
Oh, yeah.
all these different bands and actors. It's
It's
other than
amazing.
Atlanta. Yeah, other than Atlanta, it's like the Hollywood of the South.
But the thing about the ones that live around here and everything, they're just as down to earth.
Hmm.
I mean, it's amazing.
I've gone to, I love music and love concerts, and I've gone to a lot of concerts in Nashville. And one of them, or a couple of them in particular, little small kind of, they're not really dive bars, but they're really small venues.
Oh
And
yeah.
what's crazy about it are the different bands that you'll see in the crowd that are actually there watching these other bands on stage. And you never know who you're standing next to.
Oh, absolutely. And it's amazing too with the songwriters and things. And a lot of
Yes.
times you can go to a songwriters night at one of these little small bars like you're talking about, and you'd be surprised at who shows up there.
Yeah, yes, some major legendary people that if you don't know, I mean, you might know the artist performing the songs, but if you don't know the story behind some of the songwriters and stuff, I mean, there's just some amazing folks there.
And we get a lot of them that come through Lynchburg. There was a group not too long ago that came up, set a band out in front of the courthouse, and shot a little music video right here at the courthouse. So you just never know who's going to show up over here either.
Well, I tell you what I really like about that with what you're doing there in Lynchburg is essentially somebody can come and make a full weekend just out of the different locations that you can visit, getting the history and doing the Jack Daniels tour and such. And then also, and of course, there's lots of great riding roads in that area. But being able to investigate multiple locations, it's all in one spot.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got Airbnbs here. We've got a gentleman that has a horse and carriage, and he does history tours too, where he rides you around in the horse and carriage, and he, will take you around. He'll even take you up by Jack Daniel's grave and everything, which is not too far off the square here. So there's a lot of stuff that you can get involved here. The craft distillery doing their tastings, the winery doing their tastings. You can actually go in the jail museum during the day and see the artifacts and just walk through the jail museum. Great places to eat all through town. The little ice cream parlor here has Jack Daniel's ice cream. So they have a Jack Daniel's raisin. I love it. It's like shredded raisins it's great. So, I mean, barbecue pizzas. We have a cigar store that has, they do oven fired pizzas in the cigar store. So,
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it's a great little town, and everybody here that works in town and everything else is great people. You just would not believe some of the stuff that they got here.
That's very cool. And so I'm going to make sure that I have your information there in the show notes and everything to where people can reach out to you. Is that the best way to reach out to you? Is Facebook, the website? Why don't we go over your the different ways that people can contact you to book these tours, and also if they want to do a private investigation or have you all out.
Absolutely. And I'd like to do a shout out back to Sam that just put up there. I'm a Tennessee Squire too, Sam. So, yes, sir. Come on in and visit us. You can go to the website and book the tours. We're on Facebook. We have a page, but we also have a group. We do more in the group than we do the page. We got people from all over England, Canada, Australia, all over the United States that's on our page. Love to have you come in and join. But we use a cell phone. If you got any questions, everything, you can, call me at 205-230-3678, and I'll answer any questions you have on it. Our phone number and contacts on the webpage too. So, and it's TennesseeParanormal.com. You can go in and see some of our team and little bios on our team and everything on there. But just love to have you guys come out and just spend a weekend here in Lynchburg. Come take a walking tour or an investigation, or do both.
Yeah. Donald says, so can you book an overnight at the funeral home there? And he was getting into the conversation late.
No, that the funeral home's totally separate. We don't have anything to do with the funeral home, but you can book the funeral home. The gentleman that books the funeral home is Adam Head, and he is on Facebook.
Okay. Well, I'll put that information that y'all have. I don't think I have the phone number on there, but I'll get that put on in the show notes. And that way, if people want to reach out, they can definitely do that. Any cool, interesting projects you've got coming up that you want to promote?
Well, we're actually trying to work on one that we're getting down to the finalization on that. Told you I was from Chapel Hill. There is a story of the Chapel Hill light in Chapel Hill, and it's on the train tracks there. Some say, I've heard two different versions of it. One was they were connecting train cars, and the conductor got in between them and lost his head, and and he's walking the tracks with a lantern looking for his head. The other one was a gentleman came home and found his wife cheating. He got drunk, ran up on the railroad tracks, passed out, and the train ran over his head. So there's two different. There's actually a song that was written about the Chapel Hill light. Every Halloween, the news people blow it up and everything. But we're wanting to work on getting a documentary on it. And so we're in the process of doing that. What people don't understand, a lot of people, we go in and we get permissions to do these things. We don't just trespass in. Mm-hmm. We make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. If I'm at areas, I make sure the police know that we're there and that's what we're conducting at night and mm-hmm. things like that. So we try to do all of that. So I went in and talked to the mayor and the council, and they gave me permission to, if the police chief would let me go. So I went down and talked to the police chief, and he said no, and I said, hear me out, because they've had people killed on the track looking for it. They've had people that's been hit and maimed. It is on private property in the area. So they trespass you. Yeah. So when they trespass you, they turn you over to the railroad. And then the railroad trespasses you. So that's two court cases. Well, after 911, interstate commerce falls under Homeland Security. So they can turn you over to Homeland Security, and then you can be charged with domestic terrorism for being up there, which is $10,000 and 10 years in prison. So we've gotten permission. We're working on CSX now, mm-hmm. and we want to do a documentary and interview these people and tell what happens if you come up here. And mm-hmm. then our team go in and prove either it is or it isn't. But we want to use MTSU's students to film it, because they've got people there going through those type classes for film and audio and video. Uh-huh. And so we want to do that and use a portion of it as a scholarship program for those kids.
I love it.
It would be a class project and a scholarship. So that's where we're at now, trying to do that.
That's awesome. I mean, that's truly showing how you can take the paranormal and something that is very much looked at as, you know, a subculture, and taking that, pulling it more into the mainstream and involving others in these different, you know, involving the school, involving pulling all these others in, and they're owning it, you know. So that sounds like an awesome project.
I just, you know, like we came into Lynchburg. When I came in here, I said, I'm not here to come in and take money and run. I want to work with this town and help the town and help you know, the businesses telling me it's haunted and everything. Then they go back and talk to these business people. That's good for the businesses too.
Yes.
So, you know, it's not only para-unity between us as paranormal teams working together, but the unity of the town people and coming together with the businesses and things like that, I think is very important.
That's right. I mean, because the paranormal already has sort of a misconception, you know, of what it is. And, you know, that actually really works as a sort of a education process for others that may not understand. I mean, what we're trying to do and getting them involved. So I think that's just absolutely wonderful. Yes. And I totally agree with Jan.
Well, you know, I've been doing this off and on for over 40 years. So it's just, you know, trying to work together and help people. That's at the end of the day, if I've helped someone or taught someone something, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. And I can really appreciate what you're saying as far as getting the permission and everything with doing the project that you've got coming up. Because, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, it's illegal to actually take photographs on railroad tracks. You can, even if, and I've learned this from being a photographer, even if you're on tracks that are disabled or inactive tracks, it's actually still illegal, because you're, in a sense, setting a precedence for, not everyone knows that the tracks you're on are dead tracks. And so you're setting a precedence and a bad example for anyone, even if they are dead tracks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's just like here in Tennessee. A lot of people and a lot of these teams, they'll run out to the cemeteries and do things in cemeteries. There's a law in Tennessee that calls it, you know, it's illegal. It's called gaming, you know, and playing games in cemeteries. It's illegal in the state of Tennessee, and it is in a lot of states. So you got to really research and know your laws and ins and outs and getting permissions and things like that. So
yeah, it is. I mean, we are blessed in a sense where, you know, we do have a lot of these mountain backwoods cemeteries, and a lot of them they seem abandoned, but you're exactly right. There is the law here in Tennessee. I didn't realize that it was how nationwide that law was, but I know a lot of them have sunset rules.
Sure, absolutely. But, you know, but then again, you're talking about the abandoned cemeteries and everything. If it's on a private property and everything, and you go in and you talk to that property owner, and you get permission to go in. You don't just charge in and do that, you know.
And so many people, they don't have the appreciation and the respect for these cemeteries or for people's private property. They think because it's abandoned, because something is abandoned does not mean it's not owned by somebody, you know. So it's nothing is ever truly abandoned.
And there you go. There's another thing of research. You go down to the courthouse and go through the deeds and lands and all that, and find out who owns it and how to contact them through that, because that's public record. So, you know, it's back to research again. But, you know, that's what I always encourage, is make sure before you just charge out and do that you've got permission and everything. And we even use a release and everything. So if we go like to a home or something like that, we use a release and everything. And it states in our release too that, you know, any audio, video, and everything that we get permission to share that without releasing who it is or where it is, you know.
Right.
And we can always block out faces and people and things like that. But that's in our releases that, you know, you're given permission for that. So we do that too. Thomas Cartwright reached out to our team from the Lotes house, and we actually went up there and did the investigation and found the evidence and presented it to Thomas up there of what was going on.
Very cool. Yeah.
Never,
And what
I
was
saw
that?
she said she never knew that about cemeteries. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I don't know about in your neck of the woods in Middle Tennessee, but I know here in East Tennessee, with some of the mountain cemeteries and stuff, they were even warning, and this has been a couple years, but they were even warning paranormal investigators to be careful going in some of these cemeteries at night, because there was a lot of drug activity going on. People assume
Absolutely.
these are abandoned, and they're going and they're dropping drugs in like the vases and different parts of the stones, and people are using them as pickups. And if I'm not mistaken, there was, I want to say it was in East Tennessee, an investigator was injured in a cemetery.
Yes. It was in East Tennessee. That actually happened. I remember that.
Yeah. I remember that. And we've got people here talking about releases being mandatory. I think that those are definitely things, especially when you're dealing with residentials and stuff. And residentials are just a whole other ball game. Yeah.
We've had some interesting residentials too.
I'm sure. I actually know several teams that don't do residentials anymore, just because of some of the different experiences they've had with those.
We have a process on that too. We have like a questionnaire. When they contact, I'll call and talk to them and kind of fill them out. And, and I tell them, no disrespect to you. Are you on any kind of medications? Are you seeing a doctor for any kind of conditions? And, and we try to pull that aspect to it, if they're on medication for schizophrenia or anything like that, so we get a ballpark idea to begin with. And we ask the questions. And then I never tell another investigator what they tell me. And I say, you'll be getting a follow-up call from another one of our team members. And then we send them in, and then we compare notes and see if we get same stories and that kind of thing too. So, because there's a lot of people nowadays that contact us that wants us to come out and investigate because they're watching all this on TV, and they just want you to rush in and see if there's something actually at their house, And but we try to do it correctly.
And it definitely sounds like it, because we can do a whole show on residentials.
Well, couldn't we though?
Yeah, I mean, because they really are. They're a whole different ballgame, and they really, if you're really getting in and getting the story and doing your history and your research, I mean, it really becomes. It becomes a long case, or can potentially become a long case.
And I've had some pretty challenging ones too. Back when I was working in the funeral home, it was kind of taboo back then, being in the Bible Belt in the early 80s, fooling with this. You'd wander around and bump into somebody and so we compare notes, like, oh, you're doing that too? Okay, well, this is what I've gotten and this is where I've been. And we kind of throw things together, right?
Right.
So I just started working in the funeral home. I'm sitting there and I'm reading an article that I'd found on it. And I hear, and I looked around and there's a priest standing behind me. And I'm like, oh God. And he says, are you one of those ghost hunters? And I look at it like, yes, Father, I'm not going to lie to you. I did that. And he said, well, the Catholic Church still does exorcisms. And I said, yes, sir. He said, you need to know how to protect yourself and what you're up against. Would you spend about 8 weeks with me and let me teach you? And I said, absolutely. So I sat down with him. And he said, and it's not going to do him any good to complain that you're not Catholic and I'm teaching you, because I'm with the diocese here, and they're going to be complaining to me anyhow. So, so I sat down with him with 8 weeks and just really learned a lot from him.
I'm sure that was fascinating.
It was. I had a really interesting, and so we discussed that on a podcast that I had with Dave Schrader on Beyond the Darkness Radio. He and I did one several years ago on paranormal from a Native American perspective, since I'm part Native American. So we talked about the TV stuff with the burial grounds and all the bad stuff that happened to people that wandered through them, and the actual what was there and what why they were there and that kind of thing. But so this guy picked up on it and had somebody call in from Kentucky, and we actually went to Kentucky and did a cleansing up there for the lady. But
Oh, wow. Yeah.
so
I mean, and that's kind of, I mean, with my paranormal journey and with a lot of others I've talked about, I mean, for me, it's just continual learning. And
oh, it is.
so, any opportunity, you can get to sit with someone and that's why I love doing these shows like this, because we have so many different people with so many different perspectives and backgrounds and specialties that they like to focus on. That's what I love about this, because I feel like, once you're to the point, you feel like you can't learn something, there's a problem there, because we should always be learning
That's when you need to walk away from it.
That's right.
When you think you know it all and learned it all, that's when you need to walk away from it. That's one of the things that I enjoy about all these guys and teams coming in here to the jail and everything, is I get to see all of their techniques and what they use and how they do, because every team is different, and and you can sit down and learn from each other. And that's why I think it's very important for these Paracons and like Screamfest and Creepycon and all of that. It's due to the fact that we all get together and we can sit around and compare notes and what we're doing and how we're doing, locations and all that. So
absolutely,
it's not like we need to hide our locations or anything, because we're all in this for the same reason. We're all going to be there one day, and if we can just peek behind that veil and see just a little bit glimpse of where we're headed and what's going to happen when we get there, hey, that's what I'm in it for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're getting close to wrapping things up. Do you want to talk about some of the, you mentioned Creepycon. Do you have any other events and such that are coming up that people can come and meet you and talk to you in person?
The only thing I got coming up right now would be for the rest of the year would be Creepycon.
Okay.
That our team's going to be at. And it's August the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It's in Knoxville, Tennessee. It is great. If you've never been to Creepycon, they got killer clowns dressed up running around trying to scare the crap out of you everywhere you go. They've got the Beetlejuice family. It's anime. It's a little bit of everything. They had somebody from The Walking Dead there. They didn't have it last year because of COVID, but the year before in 2019, they actually had a gentleman that played on Walking Dead. This year, they've got Nancy. I can't remember her last name, but she played on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
So she'll be there as one of the guest speakers. They have everything. They have Freak Show with the Pinhead and hammering the nail and all that kind of stuff. They got a burlesque show. They got ladies that are on the silks coming out of the ceiling and doing all of that. They've got a section of teaching how to tie the bondage ropes and hanging with fish hooks and swinging, where they pierce themselves with the fish hooks and swing. They have a wrestling arena, all kinds of stuff. It's a full weekend of just craziness and
crazy creepiness.
Oh yeah. And they sell stuff for like the haunted homes with the actors. So they've got caskets. They've got an Annabelle doll that, in the case and everything, that's the full size. So they got just tons of stuff there. It is really, really great. If you want the experience of being buried alive, they had a casket there last time I was there, and I'm hoping it's there again. But they put you in this casket. It's on hydraulics. You've got headphones on and virtual, and you get in, and they've even got it with musty, dirty smell inside of it. And they lock you in this casket, and then it tosses you around while it has sounds of like dirt being shoveled on the outside of it. So, guys, I mean, it's got something for everybody. So,
I gotta admit, I would like to do that.
Oh, don't you know?
I would like to try that just to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's people like us, hey, I'm in for anything, right?
Sure, why not?
But they've got something for everybody. It's a blast, and we love meeting our fans and love meeting other teams and stuff, and just invite everybody. Clear your schedule, come out for either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and you can look it up. It's Creepycon 2021. You can Google it and pop it up, and you'll see all the stuff there, and you'll see some of the people that are guest speakers there. But they just have something for everybody.
That sounds very cool. I know you had mentioned that to me when I was there, and so I think I need to check my schedule because because Knoxville's not far, and so
Oh
I
no.
definitely like to check it out at least one day.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's great. Let me see if I've got the times and all on it here. Hang on a
are there
sec.
a lot of paranormal investigators that go?
There are some. They have a lot of tarot card readers. They have, psychics, mediums. They actually do some classes back and forth too, where you can, pay extra and go see some of the classes that they do there. So um, it's August the 20th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., the 21st from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and August the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you can get a day pass, you can get a 3 day pass, or you can get a VIP pass. So I mean, it's just great.
And do you have a table there?
Yes, we'll have a booth. We'll have a 10 by 10 booth there, and we'll be selling our merch. Some T-shirts, hats, and things like that,
Okay.
and just talking about our tours and things like that. So
Okay.
everybody
So
just drop by and drop by and
um,
meet some. I'll have some of my team members there, so drop by and meet some of the team and everything, and
and get buried alive.
absolutely.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. It's been a true pleasure getting to talk to you, and I could talk to you for another hour about your tours and about different projects you guys are working on. You're very knowledgeable, and you're very kind for coming on and sharing with us. So I look forward to being at another event with you and making a trip to Lynchburg and checking out some of your different locations.
Oh, absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on and helping promote us and everything. And
Absolutely.
all you guys that've been out there watching tonight, you've always got an open invitation to come in and do tours with us. We'd love to have you guys and show you the town here. But I'm hoping to run into you again down the road very soon. And if not running
Absolutely.
in down the road, then come over here and ride into town and let's just set up a tent right here in front of us.
That sounds great. I'm
All right.
definitely into that. And again, thank you everyone over in the chat room for your questions, your comments. You guys make the show wonderful, and I always look forward to it every week, interacting and talking to you guys. I'm going to look on my schedule here because my days are just all trying to get everything going here with the jail. My days are kind of mixed up. I am actually going to be live on a podcast tomorrow night. The Shadow Hour podcast, which is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be sharing a link on my page. And it will also be on the Shadow Hour podcast page. And then next week, I actually have my friend, Dr. Christy Sumner, my friend and business partner. We're going to be doing a live next Thursday night on the Ghost Biker Garage. We're going to be talking about the exciting things that we've got coming up with the historic Scott County Jail and some different projects that are coming up later on this year. So Dr. Sumner will be on with me next week. And we've also got the Old Stone Jail in Franklin, Kentucky. It's going to be their second annual paranormal meet and greet. And I know a lot of you folks that are over in the chat room here, Donald from Mississippi, Christy from Florida. We've got a lot of people from the Middle Tennessee area, the Kentucky area. A lot of folks. It's going to be, I think it's I think it's sold out, I believe, as far as the tables, but definitely come over. Check out Bill Wilkerson with Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, the Fearless Ones, myself, Soul Sisters Paranormal, Southern Paranormal. Too many to name. I don't want to leave anybody out, but that is next Saturday. And I can't remember the hours. I believe it starts at noon Central Time. And we're going to be having guest speakers, and they'll be able to tour the old jail there. The first annual meet and greet was a lot of fun. The second annual is going to be just as fun, if not more. And then coming in August 14th, I'm partnering again with the Widow's Sons Masonic Lodge, and we're having a motorcycle ride for Autism Awareness And so all the money goes to the Scott High School Special Needs Program and their autism program. And so it's a motorcycle ride. There's a page dedicated to this, and I'll be posting a flyer on that really soon as well. And that is on August 14th. And I'm very excited that Widow's Sons has invited me to ride and to also set up my table, because it's such a great cause. So that's just a few things that's coming up in the next little bit. And again, more information on the historic Scott County Jail with the website launch happening tomorrow. So paranormal teams, if you would like to investigate a brand new location that has only been investigated by myself, Dr. Sumner, and just a few other people, be on there and be ready to book those investigations starting tomorrow or possibly Saturday. So either tomorrow or Saturday. But anyways, again, thank you all so much. And thank you, Ronnie. And I will hopefully see some of you folks tomorrow night in the live stream on Shadow Hour. Otherwise, I will see you all next week on Ghost Biker Garage. Take care, everyone.
Thanks again. Good night.